SpaceMonki, a creative space for learning.
Hi guys, so welcome to SpaceMonki. Today we want to be doing something very awesome. So we're going to be working on this exhibition booths for exhibitionist events, and so we are going to be doing exactly this. I like the structure. It is something pretty simple but very nice with the mesh on the side. It looks very nice actually. So I'm going to start with a cube, and I'm going to try and bring that down. So we lay to the floor, and then we'll try to resize it. Yeah. So I'm going to be using 6 feet. Yeah, that's 6 feet. Yeah, I think that works on 6 feet for that. So I'm going to use an extension, snap to floor. Yeah. So if you notice that I have quite a lot of extensions that I use to make my workflow easy as a creative artist, a 3D creative artist. So there are a lot of extensions I use for my Maxon Cinema. It makes my work faster, basically. Yeah. So I can share a link for guys that want to have those as well. I can share a link in the description of the video, so that you can also download some of these extensions. So quite alright. So I'm trying to make the upper one a little extended, so we can have our lights run through. The neon light will run under that extension, just like we have it here in the picture. So let's try and set it to the floor. And I'm trying to extend it further down a little, so it has more height. Yeah, and I'm snap to floor. Yeah, you would see me use the extensions more often. Yeah, because I use them quite a lot here, honestly. So I'm adding another cube, and I would must reduce this to 6 feet. Yeah, exactly, that works. And then the height has to be 8 feet. Work with 8 feet. Yeah. So when you want to add your dimensions, you can see that the dimension, the unit for the dimension is in centimeters. So you can change it in your settings. I will pretty much show you that in later videos. But then, to be on the safer side, you can just put your number, and then you use the abbreviation or the units that you want. For example, if you want to use inches, so if you say, let's say 4 inches, you put 4, and then you put IN. IN is 4 inches. If you want to use feet, you do FT. FT is for feet. If you want to do millimeters, mm, cm is centimeter. So like that. Do you understand? So I think that's pretty clear. Okay, so we continue. I think, yeah, I already did the backdrop. Yeah, it's looking much like it in terms of height. Yeah, and then I'm getting another cube. Yeah, that's I'm making it the same height, and then I'm reducing it to 2 feet in terms of width, and the height still has to be 8 feet. Yeah, just like I explained earlier. You can see I'm just adding the units behind the numbers to give them the actual sizes. That's one of the fastest way you can just put size to your objects. Cinema 4D. Okay, so yeah, we have, I'm reducing that a little. I think the depth is a little, yeah, the thickness is a little too much. Yeah, just like, yeah, it's I think it's accurate now. That's about I think 6 inches thick. No, not, I don't think it's up to 6 inches. Maybe like 4 inches thick. Yeah. So I'm going to be using the bowl tool here. The bowl. For those of you that are not new with Cinema 4D, yeah, I'm sure you get that. So basically, what we use the bowl for is to create holes in an object, like using one object to cut through the other object, to cut into another object. There are options that bowl has. You can decide to use bowl and do a union, or you use bowl and do an intersect, or you use it to cut through another object basically. So we have the facial board there. I've done that already, and I like when my axis is in the center of my object. It keeps movement very easy, and with just one click from the extension magic center, I have it in my center. Okay, so I think that's what. So I'm going to make it wider, like, yeah, I'm going to make it the depth more than the object we're cutting through basically, before applying the bowl, like I explained earlier. So now we're going to be applying that bowl. Watch carefully. Okay, that's right. So you put the parent and the child, you drop it there, so that way you cut through easily. And so we want to save our project, so because I honestly don't like using my files while working. Sometimes I forget to save, and I've been haunted by that experience so many times. I don't want it happen. Yeah, so I created the mesh already, and then we are going to be adding that mesh. I have some other videos that would explain better for the mesh if you don't get how the mesh was done. So we would get to it. I think it needs to go inside. Yeah, that it needs to go a little inside. And yeah, you can clearly see that it is taking quite the shape, and we're getting there. Honestly, I'm liking that move. Okay, yeah, so we have to reduce that for the roof, the half, that little part of it. So sometimes instead of creating a new box, like taking a new cube, you can just duplicate the cubes that you have before, and then you size them into what you want to, what you need them to be. Yeah, so this is a process. Yeah. Okay, taking shape like I said earlier. um, so let's put that magic center. I like my axis to be the center of the object, like I said, keeps movement easy. Okay, so now I'm going to try and pull this, unless we have to cut through there. I'll pull that down. Oh, sorry, I'll pull that down. All right, that way, and we'll have to move it in, just like it is in the reference. Okay, I think it's looking more like it. Yeah, it's looking more like it. Yeah. So there are two ways I could have done this. I could use separate objects for the top and another cube for the the vertical one, where I can then cut through with 3 holes. But I just sometimes I like to do it this way. So I think it makes sense for us to increase the our space to 8 feet. I think this 6 feet is kind of short. It's not looking realistic for what we have, for what we want to achieve. 8 feet. That's more like it. All right. That sorts it. It does that. Yeah, a few centimeters. That works. Okay, so see, it's taking shape. It's taking the form. 5 centimeter. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's good. You can see the shape is getting, it's just almost like what we wanted. Yeah, it's getting it's taking the form. I'm going to try and extend that to the end there, so we have it touching that part exactly. And this, we want to make sure this is starting from the edge as well, using our magic center tool. Okay. All right. So the difference basically between creating models using one cube or one particular mesh and creating in an exhibition stand like this using different cubes together is basically because this is an exhibition stand. It's different from when you're trying to model something for printing, maybe 3D printing. You want to do 3D printing and you want your model to be just one model, maybe an STL file or something like that. But exhibition booths is basically not something you will be printing in 3D. It's just for view, like a mock-up. Do you understand? For your client to see properly how the setup is going to look like. So I'm creating an extra. I'm creating the pool. Now I want to do the pool just like we did earlier. Remember how I mentioned the bowl, how we use the bowl to cut through objects. Yeah, so we create the hole that we want inside of that. So we'll still have to get this into 3 because I think we have 3 space in between the line right there. Yeah, so I'm using the cloner and I'm going to take this out on that axis and reduce the spacing here on the x-axis. Yeah, that's good. I think that spacing is quite okay. Yeah, just need to take that up a little. Yeah, that works nicely. So now we can convert it to, and then we use the pole to cut through it. Now that works. You can see that's something clearly. Because the reason we had to use cloner first before using the bowl, I mean, I could just decide to duplicate 3 cubes and then use the bowl, is because I want the spacing in between the three cubes, like the 3 lines objects, to be um to be equivalent, to be the same. You get that? So now we are creating the flower vase. I mean, sorry, the flower base, just like we have in the reference picture. There's a space there for flower. So this is the base where we are going to be putting the flower pots. Yeah. All right. It's a rectangular vase. So okay. So I think that's so. I think we have dropped that in magic center like I always do, and we move that a little backwards. Looks more like it. Yeah, that works. So we'll be creating the desk, uh, the table, about 3 feet high. Yeah, exactly, 3 feet high. And then we place it. Yeah, it is just like in the reference we have here. You can see just close to the edge. Mm, exactly, exactly like that. So okay, I think we'll pull that in. Yeah, don't worry, it's gotten too much to the top. Still need to reduce it more. Reduce the height. Yeah. All right. So now we are going to create the light, the lightning for that spot. You can check the reference. You see that it's just like we have a reference of the lightning spot there, like spotlights. So we'll work with that. Yeah. Okay. Uh, all right. All right. Let's build and bring that in. I can insert. To take that up a bit, so just like a spotlight would have. So it's really, really awesome. Okay. So we are going to duplicate it because we have 2 spotlights there. Duplicate it exactly like it should be. not on that axis, so we're moving it to the V axis. Yeah, just two. That's enough. So we have two of them right there. We're going to take out that one. It's no longer there. So we're going to duplicate the cloner, the spotlights, because we need the spotlights to flush with the surface of that roof, if you get me. Yeah, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. You can drop your comments if you think you're not getting what I am saying. So okay. I'm putting that on top. So for some people, basically, when they are working, yeah, they like to name their elements, like their objects. I also do naming for objects for me to access them easier, and to access the elements easily. But sometimes I don't do that if they depends on how urgent the work is. So, but it's pretty simple, and it's something that you should do just for you to be able to understand your flow properly, your document, like your objects flow in the list that we have here, just to write like you're saying them. Because sometimes you could have hundreds or thousands of objects in your file, and instead of scrolling down to get what you want, you can just search for maybe the group name, and you get what you want. So okay, so we're using our cloner now. We are bringing them together. I think we need to cover that top. Okay. Just need to cover the top, yeah. Fill up exactly. Yeah. That's good. Alright, bring that in. And I'm going to reduce the width, the spacing in between them. Okay, I think I should reduce the height of the spotlight as well. It's too high. Yeah, it's quite too high. Yeah, but that's okay for the one with pulling with cutting through it. So for the actual spotlight, I am just going to reduce the height. Yeah, exactly that way. Need to reduce that height. Then we increase the spacing in between them. That's too much. It's too short. Yeah, exactly. And we try and make sure it flush. Okay. That's nice. Very nice. I like this. Works well. So I'm going to put some. Oh yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Works well. Yeah, looks pretty well. So how would we get to some assets? You can get assets and use for your Maxon Cinema for the project in 3D warehouse, SketchUp, and they really work well with Cinema 4D. Especially for objects from 3D warehouse, they work well with Cinema 4D a lot. Yeah, so that's the flyer stand. We are putting it in. We drop it down like that, and we're going to correct the axis. This way it looks rotated, so we're just going to correct it and place it on the right axis. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I think we just need to rotate that by a few degrees. That's okay. That's fine. That's cool. Mm, okay. Oh yeah. So wood. So basically, 3D warehouse and I mean the object you download from there and you send it to Cinema 4D. They come with default textures. See these textures, you can actually change them later and change them to your particular render. I use Vary render engine, so my materials has to be Vary. All right, so I'm introducing it to this. This is Cosmos browser, Chaos Cosmos browser, and I would be bringing some assets from the browser. So in exhibition design, you basically don't need to model all your assets because it's really a lot of work. Sometimes I just pick assets from different resources, maybe sites, maybe models that I have saved in my files, like in my disk or something, or my drive or somewhere else. We reuse models. It is very important because it makes the work faster. So you can get assets from Cosmos browser, you can get assets from CG Trader, you get assets from 3D warehouse, you get assets from lots of sites out there. They work very fine. For me, I love 3D warehouse because for every asset I download and I'm importing, I'm bringing them into Cinema 4D. It comes with the default C4D texture, and so it makes it easier for me to actually change these textures to a V-Ray texture. It makes it easier for me. Sometimes I just pick the textures, the default texture, and then I tweak it and make it a V-Ray texture. So when I'm rendering, it blends and it acts perfectly well. So we're bringing in the for vegetation, we're bringing in potted plants. Yeah, so we basically might not be needing this cube that we created already for plants. Just like you can see, yeah, I think this works well. Potted plant, potted flowers rather. Yeah, that's awesome for it. It's not exactly looking like what we have in the reference file, but I think this works. We can just improvise with this. Okay, so we would replace that with this one. Okay. All right. So nice. We just take that out. Yeah, that's perfectly placed. Okay. Nice. I love it. So now we are going to be creating the neon lights that runs under the setup. That's giving that nice illumination that we have quite under there. So we'll run with that. Okay. Yeah, that perfectly well. I like that. Mhm. Okay. So I want we need to chamfer. There's something called chamfer, and that's where you make it rounded. You need to have rounded edges. Yeah, awesome. This works awesome. Very nice. Yeah, just like we need it to be. Okay, so we reduce that. So basically, we have the curved spline, and then we also have the circle that will reduce, and then we are going to bring in something called um yeah. I'm going to set that inside. Yeah, a little more. Okay. So I'm basically making the spline go through the center of the axis, and then we use the sweep. So I put that in. Then you put the second one in. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Super. That works perfectly well. All right. That's nice. Properly placed. Okay. Super. And so we are going to use the mesh light. So there are different kinds of lights in the Fury. They have the mesh light, the spotlight, the rectangular light, the I mean the sphere and dome lights, the IES lights, and by I for this the mesh light works perfectly well for what we need to do here. And so I'm taking that out. I think we should take that out. We should delete that. Oh, I think I deleted that on mistake because I know we already imported that. Oh, I must have deleted that on mistake. Sorry about that. So we are going to bring it in again. Right. We are going to bring that in again. I'm talking about the flowers. So that in again. Don't worry. We'll work with that. All right. So we are going to create the neon light for this part as well. I'm trying to create an extrude and a an insert rather. Mm, that is not working. So I'm going to just split that surface from the actual model, and I'm going to reduce. I'm going to use that one. Okay. That's good. So you might not take this process. There's another process you can use. Instead of extruding this the surface, I could literally just pick the edge of that object and convert it to spline, and then repeat the same process we did earlier to get the neon light for the under part of the floor, the underflooring, that part. Okay, so you can see how this one was done. Now this one flows well actually. Yeah, nice. I like that. So I'm going to bevel this as well. I'm going to create that curved form for our neon light. All right. We have our mesh wall right there. And now I'm bringing back the potted plant which I deleted by mistake. So I think that's a pine flower. I have to bring that one in, and then we look for our rectangular pot. That looks fine too. Yeah, I think this suits that reference. Yeah, that's aloe vera, I guess. I think this is aloe vera. So it blends well, perfectly well for what we need it to do. Okay, nice. Right, so makes sense. So we'll just delete this cube that we have here and then replace with the potted plant. At least. Yeah. So I'm taking this one out. We will just by 90 degrees. So this looks good. Yeah, this looks nice also. All right, so at this point I think we would have to stop the video here. We have to stop this process here because this I don't want to make the tutorial video too long, so we'll just switch to part 2. You'll see the video, you'll see the continuation of this process. Just watch the part 2 of this. You can check the video from my channel, or you can just click the next because it's in a playlist. So let's just move ahead with that. Let me place this and then we'll move to the part 2. Thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. Please drop your comments, subscribe, and we'll improve with our tutorials. Thank you.